Where are you? Come now, don't be shy. Step into the light.
Oh, misty eye of the mountain below, keep careful watch of my brother's soul.
The Hobbit, the Desolation of Smaug, or Smaug, depending on what you want to call it, directed by Peter Jackson, and is the second part of the three-part adaptation of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit, and tells the story right from where An Unexpected Journey left off, as Bilbo, Gandalf and the dwarves are literally on the cusp, on the doorstep of reclaiming the Kingdom of Erebor from the dragon Smaug. They just have to pass through Mirkwood, the Woodland Realm, and Lake Town. Meanwhile, Gandalf has to go on a quest of his own to the ruins of Dol Guldur. Now, Desolation of Smaug, when it came out, sadly a lot of people were disappointed with An Unexpected Journey, even though I loved it, and I was one of the few who actually defended it. So when the Desolation of Smaug came out, people were hoping at least Desolation of Smaug would be better and fix the problems that people had with An Unexpected Journey, and it pretty much did. It got much stronger earlier reviews than An Unexpected Journey. It even has a 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is the best reviewed movie in the Hobbit trilogy, and the only one of the three that Empire magazine gave 5 stars. And while I wouldn't rate Desolation of Smaug quite as high as An Unexpected Journey, Desolation of Smaug is a worthy sequel in every way, and is the Empire Strikes Back of The Hobbit. Yes, it is that good. Like I said, I think An Unexpected Journey is the slightly better film, but there are some aspects that Desolation of Smaug does indeed improve over Journey, and if there's one thing it does improve, it's the pacing. The Unexpected Journey did feel very much like a prologue and setup rather than the main story, to be honest, but that didn't bother me too much. But this film has a much better pace. It gets going much quicker. It only has a like 5-minute prologue at Bree, which was in the appendices of Lord of the Rings, explaining how Gandalf and Thorin met up and set up the quest for Erebor. That was a nice scene. That explains how Thorin and Gandalf met, which was a plot hole in the book. And I love the Beorn segment. While Beorn really doesn't get much to do, he's only in the film for 5 minutes, which is a kind of a shame, but the makeup on Beorn is great. The actor they got has such a presence to him, and Beorn's house is wonderfully designed. I wish they'd stayed just a bit longer at Beorn's house, but at least the pacing's great. At least they get to Mirkwood quickly too, although a lot of the Mirkwood scenes were saved for the extended edition. We do get kind of a lack of Mirkwood, but the Mirkwood we do get is great. I love the design of this forest, and the spider scene, creepy as fuck. It reminded me of the insect scene from King Kong. Peter Jackson goes all out horror, which is one of the things he does best, and we even get some more development with Bilbo, as we didn't get this in the first film, but he's getting more possessed and driven mad by the ring, as the ring is beginning to corrupt him and affect him, as he kills the baby spider to get it. That was a great scene, which the book really should have included. And of course, we then get taken to the Woodland Realm with the elves. Now, I think the elves here, some people say they didn't need to be this much in the film, but I think they were a wonderful addition. I loved seeing Legolas back. I know people say Legolas was unnecessary, but I mean, Legolas is Thranduil's father, so I can see a reason for him being here. I see him more than just fan service, and although that little reference to Gimli, when Glóin says, "That's my wee lad, Gimli," that really wasn't necessary. That was complete fan service. You don't need Gimli or Aragorn in this trilogy. However, Turiel is, without question, my favourite of the elves. She is just freaking badass. Oh my gosh. The people who hate on her just because she wasn't in the book, are you these people it's you can't accept some changes, and besides, there weren't any girls in the Hobbit book, and I think adding her in makes for more gender equality. Yeah, this film does have more female characters than An Unexpected Journey, and more gender equality, and she's so kick-ass whenever she's on screen. Evangeline Lilly gives a great performance, and she gets a lot more to do than you'd think. Although her romance with Killy was, it's all right in this film. I don't mind it in this film, although apart from that unnecessary dick joke, I could have anything down my trousers. Why would you have a dick joke in a Middle-earth movie? Anyway, whether the romance actually led anywhere in the Battle of the Five Armies is another story, but anyway, then Thorin stands up to the elf that could have helped him in the prologue of the first movie, Thranduil, who's a complete dick, and Thorin just completely rejects Thranduil's offer, to which Thranduil just decides to lock Thorin up for like the rest of his life. I couldn't stand Thranduil. Though I love the fact this film actually explains the tension between the dwarves and the elves, which we saw hints of it in The Lord of the Rings, why dwarves and elves are rivals, but that was never explained, and by adding Legolas into this movie, that explains why Legolas is great friends with Gimli, a dwarf, in The Lord of the Rings, so that's a nice tie-in. And then we get one of the film's best scenes, hands down, the barrel scene, where they're just rolling down the river, just laying waste to a couple of orcs, led by Bolg, yes, the son of Azog, because Azog is busy setting up Sauron's armies in Dol Guldur. That's one minor nitpick I have to the film. Azog is fucking wasted in this film. If you thought he got a lack of things to do in An Unexpected Journey, here he does little to nothing. But anyway, Bolg at least does make up for that. He's a serviceable antagonist for the adventure, and although why does he need to be CGI again? Anyway, the barrel scene here I think is much better and more exciting than it was in the book. In the book they were just rolling down the river and it wasn't an action scene, but why not make it an action scene? It was so clever, fun, thrilling. And I just want to mention here that the world building in this film is just as good as the first film, in that we get some new locations of Middle-earth that we never saw in The Lord of the Rings. In The Unexpected Journey we saw very much old territory like the Shire and Rivendell, but here we get so many new and original locations, Mirkwood, Lake Town, it's all great. And look how much happens in the first hour of this movie alone in comparison to the first. Then the dwarves Bard, portrayed perfectly by Luke Evans, and get taken to Lake Town, run by the Master of Lake Town, played by the always wonderful Stephen Fry, and of course his servant Alfred, played by Ryan Gage. I'm not the biggest fan of Alfred, but here I don't mind him. Whether he was necessary in Battle of the Five Armies, again, is another story, but and I love the fact that this film gave Bard more of a character. He's the people's person. He's standing up to the arsehole Master of Lake Town, and standing up for the people's rights, and he's just trying to protect his son and his two daughters. And in fact, his two daughters are the daughters of both James Nesbitt, which is really cool. Anyway, that once the Bilbo and the dwarves get to the Desolation of Smaug, thus the title of the film, as Balin says, they get to the hidden door, and it's a really emotional, tense scene when they're trying to get the door open before the light goes out. And I love how Bilbo is the one to save the day. He sees the keyhole and realises that the last light of Durin's Day is the light of the moon rather than the sun. And when they all walk into Erebor, I have to say, I kind of teared up. They're finally home. They've done it. Meanwhile, however, Gandalf has gone on his little adventure to investigate the necromancer threat in Dol Guldur. But first he goes to the High Fells, to the tomb of the Witch King of Angmar, which did happen in the book, but we never saw it. We were just told about it. And I love the fact that this was included. It explains where Gandalf went. It fixes the plot hole of the book. However, Radagast does return, and while again he really doesn't add much to the film, but at least he's more normal in this film. He's less weird than he was in An Unexpected Journey, and Gandalf goes into Dol Guldur alone very foolishly. Why didn't he just wait for the White Council to take on Sauron? And Gandalf, when Gandalf faces Sauron, it's epic. It is such a badass scene that that would have been cool if we got Gandalf and Sauron in the Lord of the Rings, but nonetheless, it's a great action sequence and a thrilling moment when Sauron is revealed and locks Gandalf in a cage and sends Azog and legions of orcs towards the Lonely Mountain. What? That's just one of the many epic cliffhangers of this film. Of course, because this was the movie that they had to do the most pick-up and reshoots the most, when they decided The Hobbit would be 3 movies, they had to end this movie with many cliffhangers and an epic climax and give it multiple finales. And the Lake Town one isn't any exception. Bard gets arrested, Legolas and Turiel defend Bard's children from Bolg and the Orc Pack, and we even get one of the best fights in this trilogy, Legolas versus Bolg. While these characters admittedly don't have a history together, it's a great action scene, and we actually get to see Legolas lose a fight, which we've never seen before. But of course, we then get to the film's best scene by far, and the part we've all been waiting for, the Bilbo and Smaug scene. Now, I'm so glad they didn't reveal Smaug in An Unexpected Journey. That would have spoilt his reveal in this film, and boy, the Smaug did not disappoint. I have his action figure here. It's cool, right?
Trust me, guys, my audience was on the edge of their seat when Smaug started talking, me included. I mean, Smaug is the best cinematic dragon ever put to film. He is a true marvel of visual effects, and Benedict Cumberbatch, Sherlock Holmes himself. It is great that we have both Sherlock and Watson on screen together in a movie, lol. But yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch works his arse off to bring this dragon to life and gives a phenomenal voice acting job. You will remember Smaug for the rest of your life as one of cinema's greatest villains. Yeah, he is a major highlight of this trilogy, and if only we got more of him in these movies.
We get actually some great development with Thorin. Thorin is really Aragornish in this film. He's this close to taking back his kingdom, but sadly he's falling under dragon sickness, which means he's sending Bilbo on a suicidal mission and is starting to care more about the gold than his friends around him. And Balin's like, Bilbo, his name is Bilbo, go back and get him. So Thorin does go back for Bilbo, but all he cares about is the Arkenstone. That's a great scene. Richard Armitage, once again, always amazing in these movies, so underrated. And the climax with the dwarves battling Smaug in the mountain is amazing, when they battle him in the forges and get that giant statue and try and drown him in melted gold. But when he bursts out of the gold, Smaug is pissed. He's like, you wait, I'm gonna fuck up Lake Town. They're gonna pay for helping you dwarves take my gold. He just flies out of the Lonely Mountain. He's like, I am fire, I am death. And then Bilbo's like, what have we done? And then the screen cuts black and it's the end credits, and that's the movie. And boy, that cliffhanger was so good that it was the longest year to wait for Battle of the Five Armies. I'd never seen so many great cliffhangers. While one minor nitpicks I have for the film was that the CGI in this film is more overused than the first film and really did look fake, with the exception of Smaug. And the soundtrack isn't as memorable. It's good enough, but I'm not going to remember it like the soundtrack to An Unexpected Journey. And I See Fire by Ed Sheeran, it's good, but it's not a classic, like Song of the Lonely Mountain. Anyway, while Desolation Smaug still isn't in the same league as The Lord of the Rings, just like An Unexpected Journey, it's greatly underrated.
I give The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug 5 stars out of 5.
I can see why some would prefer this over the first film, but I just have a soft spot for Journey. Well, I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this room. What do you think of Desolation Smaug? Comment, let me know if you like this video, and subscribe if you follow on Twitter and on Google+. And I'll see you all next time for the Battle of the Five Armies review. I'll see you then. Bye, guys.